Hey, hi exiles, welcome in. I'm Omega Beams, and that's a lie. My mother named me Luke, but I go by the name Omega Beams here on YouTube and over on Twitch, where I stream pretty much all the time. And today we are going to go over, yes, another lightning spear class setup. Now, this is primarily aimed at the dad bods of the PoE community, the casuals, if you like. Now, all of my gear, bar through 3 pieces which I was gifted, I will go over that, has been farmed and tickled with exalts by myself. And we are sitting at about 23, almost 24k DPS. Obviously a bit more when the Herald kicks in, and all the other buffs all kick in. But you know, this is a comfortable experience for farming. This build, it is purely for farming. We are only just getting into the bossing side of things in the game. So I just wanted to do this video now before we started spending the divines that we have farmed through. These are all raw divines. We're sitting at 8 glorious divines. As I say, I want to start putting them divines into my build now, because I'm at the point where I want to do all the boss content within the game, to start stacking out my Atlas tree a bit more and getting a bit more juice out of everything. But this build so far has brought me to where I am right now, level 90, just turned level 90, and it's been fun. I'm not going to lie, I have enjoyed it. As I said before, all of this build, he gave me his Headhunter build to Ingenuity belt and the Kotoko currents, which were gifted to me by Kvitkin. Kvitkin, thank you, sir. I appreciate you. And also Avi lent me his Headhunter belt, which I've been having a little bit of fun with. These boys are a wealth of knowledge within the PoE community, and go give them guys a follow over on Twitch. They are a fountain of knowledge. Now, let's get into this build. As I say, we farmed it. I've tickled it up with exalts as much as I can. And this is where we're sitting. 23,000. Yeah. 23,000 DPS. Now, I was lucky enough to find the Tangle Tongue quite early on in my campaign. Didn't quite know what I had at the time. I was doing a bleed build and pretty quickly transitioned into the lightning spear. We did slam it, and we did look out with an extra 28% increased elemental damage. Now this Tangle Tongue specifically has a high critical hit chance and does fork critical hit. So when the projectile hits a target, it then sort of like shatters out and into several other projectiles hitting targets around. And it is a great spear, and you can pick them up fairly cheap now, I think. I mean, you can get some absolutely wild ones, I believe. I've not really touched the trade system much this season, as I did want to see how far I could go solo self-found. As I say, I was gifted a couple of bits. I wasn't strict SSF, but I'm quite happy with what I found. But now, like I said, I am at the point where I want to maybe jump up and start doing the bosses. So this is the end. This is the end of my budget build now, because I am starting to put actual currency into this build. I'll go over the gems in a minute. I just want to go over my gear. As I say, I was gifted the Kotokos. I love the Kotokos. I love the electrocution build-up. When that electrocution hits a target, it leaves it standing there, rocking itself backwards and forwards like it's an AC/DC concert. Just allowing you to fire off multiple projectiles to finish it off. I do love the Kotokos. I will put my other gloves in and shortly and just show you how much I can actually get out of this build, because this does lower my DPS, but it's ebbs and flows. This gives me the electrocution build up, which I enjoy, especially for farming. But I think maybe we are at a point now where we do ditch them and move on for the bossing. We'll see. I might stick with them. Who knows? They make me feel warm and fuzzy all the way down to my tootsie toes. So I will keep them on for now. Now my rings, I do enjoy my rings. They have decent accuracy, which critical hit chance does scale from accuracy. So the more accuracy you can get on your jewelry and gloves, the better. The more accuracy, the more DPS. Simple. I would have preferred a little bit more res on there. We've got a little bit of rarity. This is my chest. We did slam it. We got a little bit of chaos res, which is nice. And then the fire and the cold, pretty sweet. A little bit let down on the lightning, but this is the cards we have been dealt with. This is my other ring. We've got a bit of fizz, a bit of lightning. Again, a hell of a lot more accuracy. A little bit of rarity, a decent cold res, and a little bit of life regen. I would have preferred maybe another res on there, but hey, it is what it is. Accuracy again on the amulet. I have allocated an anointed careful assassin, which gives me 50% more critical hit chance, but lowers my critical hit bonus by about 20%. Gives me the 3% increased maximum life, a little bit of LE, res, cold and lightning. They could be a little bit higher, but again, it is what it is. I use my buckler purely for evasion and reses. And a little bit of block chance. That is it. I don't parry. I don't use that mechanic whatsoever. I just use it for the reses. And the gains basically off that. My helmet, this is my farming one because it's got a little bit of res on. I will put my other one on again in shortly just to show you how much I can squeeze out of the lightning spear when I've got all my other bits and bobs on. Bits and bobs, that's for Sunset. He loves that saying. We've got 100% floor increased evasion rating. Again, so maximum life, this is something you want to be prioritizing on your build. Especially if you are evasion. We haven't got the most energy shield, so we are stacking life. And it is one of the hardest things in the game to stack for your defenses. But this is the path we took. Do I try and swap over to energy shield? Give me a few bosses and we'll make that decision. Because if I'm getting creamed, I'm probably going to start looking at moving across to energy shield. And if I do that, I might take the option of going CI purely because I like to run the Trials of Chaos. This is one of my favourite. It's some of my favourite content within the game is the Trials of Chaos. It's boring, but last season I spent a lot of time in the Trials of Chaos and I got minted. If that's something you're interested in, you know, you can put an episode of South Park on like I do and just cruise control it. Happy days. You're gaining currency. Anyway, maximum life. Prioritize that if you are evasive. A little bit of res on there. What else have we got? Boots. I'm quite happy with these boots. I tickled these up myself, but I'm by no means a master crafter. I don't really understand it a great deal past exalts and slamming it with a Val or whatever. I've never whittled anything. I've never, you know, omened anything or anything like that. I don't understand it, but this is something that I do want to eventually, you know, gain the knowledge on to see if it's something that tickles my pickle. And if it does, brilliant. If not, I'm okay with just exalting things and seeing where it lays. So again, maximum life is nearly 100. Bit of rarity, bit of res, more evasion, and most importantly is the movement speed. I'd like an extra 5% on there, but until we find something, these are the coolest kicks in the cave for me. And the belt, this is a pretty naff belt. I've got this on here purely because it's the highest maximum life that I've got. It's got pretty scuff resistances apart from the lightning. That will get bettered. But again, at the moment, I'm more or less using the ingenuity just to bump up my rings a little bit. But we'll go over that in a second. Now, what I'll do is before I get into the gems and all that sort of stuff, I will just put my other gear on just to show you how much I can get out of this build. So 23k, it's respectable. You know, you'll be cruising through T15s, no issue. There's going to be random points where you're just going to get one-shotted out of nowhere. You don't know where it came from. It happens. But this, for me, rolls through maps relatively easy. You know, I'm cool. I'm cruising. I've got an episode of South Park on. I'm laughing my head off. But if we put the ingenuity on, that's going to take it up to, that's going to take it up to 26. Then I put my helm on. That's going to take me up to 28. I do lose a little bit of rarity there. I'll go over the resistances in a minute. Now, my gloves. This takes me up to 39k. That is a huge, huge jump. But that is down to the 23% critical hit damage bonus. And the fizz and lightning damage on them gloves. Again, I'm pretty lucky with the 108 maximum life. That helps me a great deal. And then if I wanted to, I can put the Lycosade tower shield on, and that'll take me up to 49k in DPS. And then I can put 2 charms on. I would usually put the stun and the freeze one on. I haven't got that in my inventory at the moment. But yeah, we're sitting at 49k. You know, that's going to get us through the first set of bosses, really. And we're gonna go through some bosses in a stream later on to see how we fare. Now, I will probably go down this way for my last ascendancy. Again, that's something that I want to do, probably within the Trials of Chaos and taking on the Trial Master. We'll go over the tree in a second. Let's just cruise through these gems and just show you what I'm rocking with. So on the infused weapon, we've got the elemental focus, which gives you 25% more elemental damage. Then we've got blind. Obviously, it hits, you're blinding enemies. Magnified effect, which is AoE. Then we've got strip away, which will apply exposure. So I don't really use spear throw or spear stab anymore. These are pretty much where I just stick my gems just in case I need to swap out, which I do swap one out on my lightning spear for when I am bossing. So On the lightning spear, we've got primal armament, which gives you 25% more weapon elemental damage. Then we've got lightning infusion, which again gives you 25% as extra lightning damage. Then we've got bullseye, which increases that accuracy again. Again, accuracy is important. More accuracy, the more crit, the more damage. Simple. We've got Vault. I love Vault. Let me just show you how Vault works. So, if you look at the bottom there, you can see that number climbing to 30. And if you manage to go 30 steps, fire, it will increase. So you travel 30 meters, you are getting 5% extra damage on every 10 voltaic charge consumed. So you travel 30 meters, you got 15% extra damage right there. Now I do have pinpoint critical as my last one at the moment. This probably isn't the most meta set out of gems. Don't know what is. I'm just doing what's good for me at the moment. This gives me more critical hit chance. But when I am bossing, I do put inhibitor on, because whatever charges from my combat frenzy, this procs, it won't consume them, which then lets me consume them within my Stormlance. So I will use my Sniper's Mark, try and gain as many combat frenzy charges as possible with my lightning spear, and then I will just dump all my Stormlances onto a boss, and it will just melt the HP bar. What I'll do is I'll get a little video and I'll insert it here. So that was the video that I inserted of the Stormlance. So I've got Lightning Mastery in there. Again, this probably isn't the meta build of the gems. There may be gems out there that will double my numbers, and when I find them, I'll probably update as well. But I'm trying to stay away from videos. I want to find it out myself. You know, I want to learn myself through this process. So I've got Lightning Mastery in, which gives me a +1 to supported lightning skills. Lightning Exposure, which obviously inflicts a lightning exposure for 8 seconds on shocking a target. So if we're shocking, especially if we've got the Kotokos. Deliberation, that's the dog in the background, pottering about. So we've got Deliberation, which gives us 20% more damage and 30% more movement speed penalty. But when we're dumping the Stormlances, you're not going to notice that anyway, because you're going to dump it and then you're going to be rocking out there. Acceleration for 40% more projectile speed. Now, I need another perfect Jeweler's Orb, and I would probably put Scatter Shot in there just to give myself some extra projectiles. Herald of Thunder, the Clearing Master. Innovate, which 35% of damage as lightning damage for 5 seconds on killing shocked enemies. It's always shocking. Neural Overload, which electrocute primed enemies on hit. Then we've got Deadly Herald, which always just gives you 30% more damage. Then we've got Electrocute again. Love the Electrocute build up. Love it. I don't really use Thunderous Leap anymore. But I've got Martial Tempo. I mean, you could put Martial Tempo. If you didn't want to put Pinpoint Critical, you could probably put Martial Tempo, and that's going to give you 73k there. That's something to play around with. Like I say, I don't really use Thunderous Leap. I only put Martial Tempo on there, so it's a little bit quicker. Sometimes it's a little bit of a get out of jail card if you're getting stunned by a group, or you just give it a Thunderous Leap and you're out, you're jumping out. Now, our Barrage. This is our buff skill. you hit your barrage and it empowers your attack. So basically, your barrage, if you chose to put it on your, if you primed it and then lobbed your lances out, it'd lob 3 instead of 1, you know, increasing your damage. Combat Frenzy to get your charges. So on the barrage, sorry, I've got Perpetual Charge, which 35% chance to not remove charges, but still counts as consuming them. And then Premeditation, which 15% more damage. Then with a Combat Frenzy, we use the... I would like to get Cast on Critical and put combat in. I have seen people using that, so I don't have to manually do it to get my charges. That would be grand, but it is what it is at the moment. We are manually doing the Combat Frenzy. The Sniper's Mark, sorry. Yeah, so Combat Frenzy, we've got Profusion, so that gives us a 50% chance to grant an additional charge. We've got Cannibalism, which is life recovered on kill, which is good. And then we've got Precision, which again is an accuracy rating whilst the skill is active. Again, bumping our DPS. And then Sniper's Mark, meaning the next critical hit, because of Tangle Tongue and all the crit that we're putting into on our tree, we're hitting this quite often, and it just deals extra damage. On this, we've got Arcane Tempo, excuse me, for more cast speed, Ingenuity, which increases the cooldown by 30%, which is great, and Inspiration, which is 30% less mana consumed. Okay, we do have Voltaic Mark. I've not really used it. I always forget it's there. But I should be whacking this on bosses. But as I say, farming, it's never an issue. I need to start practicing the pinnacles and getting into a rotation of moves to make things easier for myself. Now, the rower mount, again, this is something that I just don't use anymore, purely because I like floating around with my wings. Which brings me to the most important part of the build. Wings. If you haven't got them, why not? Why not? They're amazing. Anyway. Anyway, so yeah. We've taken ourselves from, what, 26k was it? 23, 26k? All the way up to 73k there. And this is all through gear. The Ingenuity, but if we put our belt on that we did, that we have ourselves, we're at 65. You know, we're getting an extra 10 out of that, an extra 8 out of that Ingenuity. So we are currently sitting at 73,597, and I like them numbers. I like them numbers because this is what we're going to start bossing with. Now, the passive tree, the skill tree. I do have one more ascendancy to do to collect my last 2 points, which I'll probably go for more accuracy and the added fizz for 25% of the accuracy rating of the weapon. That's, I mean, it could be skill speed and it could be accuracy. I don't know. We're going to play around with it a little bit more. We're not there yet. So once we are, we can update then. As I say, I've tried to collect as much critical nodes as possible. A little bit of evasion there. I did go down this route at first. I took these attack damage and movement speed. Movement speed never hurts. You know, the more movement speed, the better. Obviously, we worked straight away, straight down the middle and straight into this this spear node first. Then we took the accuracy and the skill speed. Now, I came down here and I did take these crit chance nodes, and then I took away my lightning stuff and I put it here. I might take these 2 areas back and potentially always take these 3 for your heralds. I'm going to potentially put it, maybe come up this way, get that jewel socket. I wouldn't mind maybe going and getting maybe the intelligence to see if I can get something like Orb of Storms, see if that does anything for me. Again, I came over here, got these critical hit chance stuff. I got a little. This is where all my energy shield comes from, basically. These nodes here. But we're still playing with it. We're still playing with it. I took these ones here. Throat Seeker, that gives you 60% increased critical damage bonus. If I took that back, I'd probably get my... let's have a look what I'm at. So I'm at 92%. Nearly 93% in critical hit chance. Yeah, I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind getting that to 100. My critical damage bonus is 438. Pretty decent. As I say, I am at the point now. This is the end of my budget build, I should imagine, because I am going to start putting currency into that build, this build, and seeing where we can go with it, because I want to get that pinnacle content done. I want to then start just smashing through the Trials of Chaos if I can, just to get a bit of currency built up. This is the end of the video, I believe. If there is anything that you want to know, please sound off in the comments below and let me know what you think of the video. If you've got any questions on the build, my max roll will be in the descriptions. And if you are after a Discord community to settle into, I do run a Discord with my good friend Yorkie. It's fun, it's friendly, and it's full of great people who are welcoming. And if that's something that you're interested in and makes you all warm and fuzzy, absolutely join and come and say hello. We are welcoming. And we cover a wide range of games from, obviously, I do all the ARPG stuff, but we cover a wide variety of games such as Tarkov, Division, Rocket League, GTA, COD. We've got ballers from all over the world in that community, and they were always willing to help. And if this content, if you've got anything from this content, that's a W for me. That's what I want to do. This is what I want to do. And I just want to thank you all for tuning in. If you're still here, I thank you, and I bid you adieu. Good day, good night, good afternoon, whatever time it is there. Enjoy. Most importantly, enjoy. Thank you. Bye.